set up. Getting the stream on. That is up. Cool. Right, I think we're good. No worries then. Hope you have a good week. I'll catch you next week. I'm gonna move the... And I'm live. Woo. Hello. That's about right. Give or take. Maybe a bit more that way. Alright. Hello! How's everybody doing? How's things? How's your week been? We're technically a few minutes early, but you know, what's new? This has been an interesting day. There's been a few launches. One that I didn't get round to, you know, posting, and one that I did. So the what's it called? Come on, Brian. The Razer 8000Hz mouse. That was an interesting one to check out. If you haven't seen the video, basically, Razer is soon to be offering a mouse with an 8000Hz polling rate, which is up from the 1000 that we normally have. And yeah, it's kind of interesting. Oh, yes, funny you mention it. Steve from Gamers Nexus sent me like one of everything from their store. It's insane, but where is it? This toolkit, their like screwdriver kit, really nice. Like, it's fancy. I would still probably buy the iFixit kit first because I would say that's probably more useful unless you're disassembling graphics cards every day. But yeah, this is really nice. Loved your vids, thank you. And yeah, nice t-shirt. It's awesome. It's really nice. It's well designed. I mean, I also have a very, very similar design, but you know, that's fine. Big Navi 32 gig prosumer. I have not seen anything about that. I suppose the Big Navi announcement is what, 20 something, 28th, I want to say, maybe 24th. It's, you know, at some point at the end of this month. The first one is next. The first AMD one's next week, which is very interesting. Which is the CPU's next Thursday. So what I'll probably be doing, depending on what time that announcement is, I will either be streaming just the announcement and talking about it, you know, while it's going, or I'll record it and do a thoughts video, you know, afterwards or whatever. But we'll see. Are you going to review the Lenovo Legion 5 or 5i? I don't work with Lenovo, so at the moment anyway, so I, you know, not currently, but if I can get my hands on one, I certainly would. Do you think that Big Navi's ray tracing is better than Nvidia's? If I had to guess, my assumption would be it wouldn't, because the assumption is that Nvidia helped develop ray tracing in general, or at least the video game implementation, DirectX ray tracing. They helped develop that, so the assumption would be Nvidia have a bit of a head start on the architecture and design, although they could, you know, they could have a you know, interesting way of going about it that's better, but yeah. Zen, you should be asleep. Nice. Are you going to do VR content? It's not on my to-do list really. I do have a Valve Index, but that's besides. I did a review of it, but besides that and any potential future hardware launches, basically, it's not on my to-do list, I suppose. Hello from Holland. Hello. Big Navi won't, as Nvidia has 2 generations. R&D from consoles will help. Yeah, that's the what I was getting at there. See you then. Hello Yazik. I've been upgrading my NAS into a rack. What would be a good hard drive choice? WD Seagate 6+ terabyte times 6. Unfortunately, I don't have an nearly unlimited budget like usual at the moment. Nice, fair. So I have a relatively limited experience. The Backblaze study that they do every year or whatever to tell you like what drives failed the most, specifically what brands and all that sort of stuff. That's a really useful thing for longevity's sake. But from my experience, the Seagate Ironwolf Pros seem to be a pretty good shout, specifically because if they fail, you have data recovery built into the warranty, so you can, if one of them fails, and your RAID array fails, for example, and you can't, like, two of them fail for whatever reason, you can send those two drives off and have them repaired. Might take a while, but you have that built in. The standard Ironwolves are a little bit cheaper, so if you don't mind that, I have two standard Ironwolf 4TB, and I have two Ironwolf, what do you call it? 8TB Ironwolf Pros, and they've all been fine. So yeah, that's my personal experience. I do also have a 10TB WD Gold that I'm going to be building into a new NAS, so it'll be 6 10TB WD Golds, so I can let you know how those go as well. But yeah, that's my experiences. How's this for a budget system? Ryzen 3 3200G, an A320M, an ASRock RX 570, Thermaltake 500 power supply, Q300i case, and a 2TB Seagate hard drive. If you're planning on buying new, that's not bad. Otherwise, if you're willing to buy from the used market, there is, I can guarantee you that for that sounds like £400, you can get a much more impressive system for your money. With that said, yeah, that's not bad. Hello Tom, hello Source Code, how you guys doing? Also hello Yashidus. You got the LG 32UN888 and it's great, awesome, nice one, I'm glad. What have you been up to with it? Hi, are NVLink and SLI the same? If they're not, can we interchange terms? Because I see most reviewers call it SLI instead of NVLink. So the thing is with with NVIDIA and SLI, they don't. SLI is basically dead. The only card that from the current generation that supports SLI or multi-GPU configurations is the 3090. So for all intents and purposes, it doesn't really matter. The point is though that NVLink was NVIDIA's professional version of SLI. Basically, NVLink isn't really meant for gaming as much as it is for compute applications where you want graphics cards to be able to share a workload, a computational workload that's not, drawing frames. But what happened on the last generation of the 20 series, they basically went from 2080 and 2080i, those can have SLI/NVLink, and then now it's only the 3090, and honestly we can probably expect that 4090 whatever probably won't have it at all. So yeah, yes, you can technically interchange on RTX cards, but it's becoming a depreciated term, and also not many games support SLI very well. What do you think about the RTX 3000 series issues? So I assume you're talking about the crashing, the whole capacitor stuff, right? So I have only literally today got a 3080 in. I haven't even taken it out of the box yet. So yeah, no. But I've kind of been fairly removed from it. It's not uncommon for launch drivers from either side to be somewhat unstable, certain games or whatever. That's not unusual. And in terms of the capacitor things, as far as I'm aware, there haven't been many cards that have shipped to customers with the less than adequate solution, and I'm sure that, especially with all the talk around it, if you did get a card with the less than adequate solution, you can probably return it at no charge to you and get a replacement one. Does it indicate a rushed launch? Potentially. Is it just common for the hardware industry? Yeah, pretty much. I think there's been a lot more eyes on this launch specifically, so any issues at all have been much more widely publicized, I would think. Hello Joe, how you doing, man? And I'm glad you're loving the car videos. Thanks. Does NVLink just work with games? Yeah, so the problem is that in theory DirectX 12 was meant to be the solution to that, because it had discrete multi-GPU support baked into the API, but as far as I'm aware, no games picked up that support, so no. And Gamers Next has done a video about 3090 SLI. Nice. Programming, watching movies in Dota. Nice. Works great with my Mac as well. That's awesome. A nice one. My Ryzen processors pins are bent. Could that be the reason PC isn't booting in dual channel RAM setup? Yes. If the pins are bent, especially if they're not seated in the socket, it can have a partial connection to the RAM and it can freak out and not boot. So yeah, that's like bent pins is a pretty catastrophic failure in a PC. There aren't many things that can truly ruin a computer, but bent CPU pins, whether that's in the socket or whether it's on the chip itself, yeah, I'm afraid so. Also, hello TechteamGB, how you doing, man? And I answered your question. Yes, I got one in today, but it's going back in like 2 days, so yeah. Samsung Odyssey, that's a long name, 27-inch something or other, is only £300, HDR10, 1440p, 144 months with FreeSync Premium. What would you expect from it, and would you consider reviewing it? It's just become available on Amazon. Is that a curved panel, or is that a... because if it's a curved panel, it means it's a VA, which means it's probably, like... There are some impressive VA panels for sure, but it's also not like, if it's not IPS, it's not going to be game-changingly good. But for £300, that's definitely not bad. $3 AM here, nice. It is 8 PM here. I don't know why I had to look so hard. And also, hello to Seahawk. How you doing, man? Will Big Navi be better in rendering? RX 5700 XT equals 2070 Super, but 5700 XT is much slower. So we're talking about unreleased cards, blah 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 blah. My experience with the 5700 XT is that it does punch fairly well above its weight, including in gaming. Obviously it is slower than the 2070 Super, but I wouldn't call it much slower. Like, I think it's on par with the 2070 or so. So yeah. But the way that AMD does its what do you call it? The way that AMD does its GPU designs is basically as many cores as you can, and so that ends up working fairly well for certain applications. Hello, Sea Swords. How you doing, man? I have a 970 and a 6700K, thinking of waiting until next year because DDR5 RAM to upgrade my whole PC, or do you think I should upgrade now? So it's probably going to be unlikely that DDR5 is going to be a commonplace item until, I would say, 2022. The reason I say that is because this year's Ryzen launch, which is happening next week, next Thursday, that's going to be DDR4, and then you have to wait another year for another Ryzen chip. Next year's Intel chips are using the same socket, so that's DDR4. And so even if Ryzen comes out, even in the middle of the year, DDR5 availability isn't going to be overly abundant, especially if Intel aren't also adopting it at the same time. And so the price of DDR5 is going to be extortionate for probably the first 6 months or so. So it'll vary. But yeah, I think if you were to build a system in a couple weeks, say once the new Ryzen chips come out, I don't think that you're going to be very hard done by. I don't think that you're going to, the fact that you have a 6700K is not going to be like, it's going, any chip you can buy even today is going to be a sizable upgrade to your your usage experience, I assume, gaming experience. So that will be a a good thing to have happen. But with that said, if you did want to just upgrade your GPU to, I don't know, 3070 whenever that comes out or whatever, that will, the 6700K, I can only imagine, will still last you plenty fine until DDR5 is both out and abundant, and then you can upgrade the rest of the system around it to sort of better make use of whatever new GPU you get. So if I was in your position, I would upgrade the graphics card and not think about the rest of the PC for now. Did I miss anything? Not sure you remember, a couple of weeks ago I was saying that I had to order an MSI 3080. Nice. A day later I changed the order to an Inno3D card. Nice. Have you got it? Is it all good? Would you consider upgrading a 3200 MHz CL22, oh geez, to 3600 MHz CL18? Do you mean do you actually mean CL22? Because I didn't think that do you mean CL12? I'm very confused, but yeah, yes, that RAM kit. If it's a CL22, yes, I would swap it. Ryzen 3100 with a 5500 XT, with a 75Hz monitor, or well, I would have the 144Hz and the 5600 XT and 3600, but I'm not quite sure what the comparison you're going for there, because those are two very different price points. But personally, yeah, hands down the higher end system. Fair play, Trash Mouse. Do you think Big Navi will be bottlenecked by the 6700K? So one, unreleased cards, can't know that, but two, bottlenecking isn't as simple as people think it is. Even a 10900K will technically be a bottleneck in certain scenarios with certain graphics cards like 3080, 3090, whatever. That bottlenecking isn't necessarily, this one part will reduce this other part's performance by X, and if you swap it out for a different part, that will increase the performance by Y. Every chip along the stack will bottleneck certain different cards at different different points, different ranges, different amounts. Yes, it definitely will. You will have less performance with a 6700K than you would a 10900K, for example. Is the difference that you would have so drastic that you'd want to upgrade the whole thing now? I don't think so. And going from a 970, you will see a very noticeable increase in performance from basically any card, up from a 5600X upwards, and 20, well, actually even probably a 1660 Ti and up, you'll probably see a sizable performance improvement. So yeah. Is RAM speed important as its size for productivity tasks? So it depends what CPU you have. If you have a choice between going with a smaller kit of really fast RAM, and well-timed RAM versus more RAM but slower. If you are exclusively doing productivity tasks, video editing, or Blender especially, more is the better option there, hands down. If you run out of capacity, that's a lot more of a problem than running out of
the Razer mouse video.
money.
I've got a Razer Naga Trinity currently,
Nice.
and honestly, to reduce input lag, you sold that one to me. You need a commission when it's released, my friend, haha. Have a good weekend and a coffee on me.
Well, thank you very much. I have no idea what I was saying, so I'll answer that instead. I too have a Razer Naga Trinity. I have the 8 buttons because I kept pressing the one on the side. I'd slide. So yeah, it's good, and I'm glad that you liked the video. And thank you very much. And what was I actually saying? Oh yeah, more RAM capacity. Like if you run out of capacity, that's way more of a big deal than if you just have faster RAM. So yeah, more capacity is the way I would go with that. Yeah, so I like having the more buttons, like having lots of different buttons for different games, whether it's for COD or whether it's for Rainbow Six Siege, even PUBG. It was really useful to have them, but when I would slide, there's nowhere to grip with the 12 button side. So when I'd grip, I'd hit one and it would switch weapons or whatever, or like switch what I was doing, and it got me, dead in game more times than I would hope. Will Rocket League have the same socket as Comet League? As far as I'm aware, yes. The whole marketing spiel around Z490, which was a socket change and motherboard change that we didn't need, was that, oh, you can buy all of this today and our next generation part will drop in and it will give you PCIe Gen 4 support. For a really hacky method. So, yeah. I suspect that it will, or it should be anyway. MX Anywhere. You see, I'm a man of many tastes, and I have a MX Master 3 as my daily driver mouse, my editing mouse, and then I have the Naga Trinity as my gaming one that I swap out to. I even have the MX Master 1, like OG. Damn, it's dusty. If I missed any questions, by the way, feel free to repost them. Asus VG248QR, 165Hz, 1080p. I really don't like 27-inch 1080p monitors. It's not the pixel density just doesn't work for me. So I would personally go for the Acer one because it's 1440p. The input lag or the response time that's 0.5 milliseconds is actually just they measure it like the 0.5 milliseconds is the minimum, whereas everyone else just measures average. So it's kind of marketing BS. So yeah, personally, I'd go the 1440p one instead. And also hello to Hollow Rift and hello to Hornet. How you guys doing? Would you say the Ryzen 2700 is ideal for a high, medium-end gaming PC? It's an older chip. It's not bad. It's not the best. And if you're just gaming, a Ryzen 3600X is probably a better shout. When do you think Tiger Lights are releasing? Guessing 2021. Yeah, me too. I normally hear that stuff is coming, 6 months beforehand. But this is, I haven't heard anything new about, any new Intel chips coming out in the next, 3 months till the end of the year or whatever. So, yeah. Last week asked what router I should upgrade. I found a really cheap solution using TP-Link Powerline. Only really wanted it from a PC. Fair play. Yeah, that works. That's fine. And power lines can be pretty useful, especially if you only care about it for your desktop or whatever. So yeah, nice one. I honestly forget about power lines. It's not something that I've used personally, but I know a lot of people who do use them and they are really useful. So yeah. More curious about Intel graphics cards coming up. I am too. I still suspect that it's going to be more, data center focused or production focused, rather than enthusiast focused, gaming focused. But either way, I'm going to be very interested to see. What do you think will happen to prices on budget cards, the 1660 type, after Big Navi releases? So the question will be what price points they start offering. If they only offer 1 or 2 high-end cards like Nvidia has, then it won't budge really. Whereas if they offer a full stack, or if they start with mid to low end instead, then we'll see fairly drastic changes, especially in the used market. The new market doesn't tend to change price all that often, so yeah. I've been with Intel since 2600K. I've just upgraded from a 7700K to a 3800X. It's good, but more. It's just as good, but more cores. I think it's an upgrade, but I do like AMD at the minute. Yeah, that's pretty fair. I had a 6700K and actually a 4790K before that, and at the time it was the logical choice. Obviously, the more competition we have, the better. And right now, yeah, I would agree AMD's a better place to be right this second. I just hope that Intel can, I suppose, get their act together a bit and deliver a legitimately impressive set of chips rather than just going for most power draw. How much should I set my Ryzen 5 3600 for overclocking? It entirely depends on the chip and what ends up being stable. And honestly, I don't overclock all that often, and I also don't I don't remember clock speeds. So I remember monitor names, but not clock speeds. HP Pavilion Ryzen 5 4600H versus Acer Nitro 5 4600H. But yeah, well, so I haven't tested the Pavilion, so I couldn't tell you. The Nitro 5 is decent. It is a decent machine. It's fairly well built, and generally speaking, it's a pretty good user experience. I've got a Gen 1 Ryzen Nitro 5 that's still holding up fairly well. So yeah. Hey. Competition is great for all consumers. So you're right, man. Thank you. Should I get an RTX 3080 or Big Navi? Well, Big Navi doesn't exist yet, and it won't for at least another month, and then probably another month after that. So I can't tell you. I was looking at overclockers for 30 series 400-bit pre-orders, and some people are saying there's 700 to 800 on the waiting list. Oh dear, that's a lot. I mean, I would hope that there's a lot of car, like 700 to 800 does sound like a lot, and it definitely is. But at the same time, the number of orders that like I get even through Amazon, like my Amazon affiliate links. I think I had £65,000 worth of hardware sold last month through my Amazon affiliate links. So I know it sounds like a lot, and it definitely is, but I also think that they're probably going to be shipping stock in 100 or so a week type deal. I'm completely guessing those numbers. Don't ever damn quote me on that, but supply chain logistics don't ship 1 or 2 at a time. They ship pallet loads. And a pallet load is, if I had to guess, 50 to 100 or so. depending on the box size and stuff. So, and obviously each of the individual manufacturers will ship at least a pallet at a time, kind of thing. So, yeah. Spoke with overclockers over the phone. They said they had more than 2,000 pre-orders in day one just on an MSI card, single card. Oof, that is mental. Do you think the supply chains for the new releases in the future will get worse or better, or is this just the human virus related? So I think that there's, I think it kind of compounded. So Nvidia definitely hyped the launch. So the launch was, this is the biggest generational leap we've ever seen, and so that definitely helped the buzz a bit. It also, people have been considering upgrading their 900 series cards for a while, and now with them hearing this is the biggest generational leap, well, now's the time they go and do it, and it sounds like a great value for money, blah 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 blah. And then on top of that, you also have coronavirus, which has drastically altered supply chains. I believe that air freight is still more expensive than it should be, by a good margin. And then even like actual manufacturing, most things that the GPUs themselves, Nvidia will have been manufacturing those GPU cores for 6 months. Maybe a little less, but those GPU dies themselves alone have been in the process from probably the start of COVID, and so with all of the production lines shut down for a number of months at the beginning of the year to, well, middle of the year really, depending on where you are and all that sort of stuff, that will have affected the supply chain and the supply chain logistics potentially fairly sizably. So yeah. OCUK took 8 million pre-orders despite not having any stock. Yeah, so I mean that's kind of the reason why you have pre-orders, is you can gauge stock. I would assume that if they took a pre-order they didn't take the money, but yeah, fair. Thanks, Seahawk. I actually need a haircut, but yeah. That's why I asked about the 2070 Super, especially as I don't know if my 1080 Ti is about to give up. Yeah, that's fair. I would hope that supply becomes more readily available, but yeah, I don't know. J. Sen said recently AIBs only knew of this card on the 1st of September. Engineering had a single reference board on the 1st, so it was super rushed over normal. I mean, I kind of believe that. Like that makes sense, especially from what we've seen. The 1st of September sounds really damn late, but it would also explain the capacitor choice issues and stuff. The tooling of PCBs for manufacturers and stuff isn't overly unusual. It doesn't normally take overly long. Pretty much everything's still the same design, still the same memory chip layouts and that kind of thing. The VRM designs are going to be pretty much copy and paste, and if not, they can just use Nvidia's design. I can't imagine it takes them too long to spin up manufacturing on those sorts of cards. I think GPU die delivery will probably be the biggest bottleneck there, but then after that, logistics of just literally shipping the damn things out is going to be difficult. I think the majority of it was driver. I think it's what you call it? Come on, brain. I think the majority of it was. Nope, I've got nothing. So there was a few with the capacitor issue. I don't think many of those cards shipped to customers. So I think it is, just software But yeah, it's pretty common for the hardware industry. The number of times that I've been testing pre-release stuff, CPUs, GPUs, whatever, and they are either straight up broken and I've had to return them, or had driver issues, had software issues, and all that sort of stuff. It's very, very common. So yeah, it's the number of times that you get a BIOS upgrade for a new CPU launch, like 6 hours before the video is meant to go out. I've already finished it all. It's already like literally uploaded to YouTube and scheduled, but then they send you a BIOS upgrade that says this gives like 20% more performance, and you're like, oh. And then you have to retest it and refilm the whole thing in like 5 minutes. Yeah. How many fans are recommended to have in a PC? It depends on the case and your configuration. Sometimes you can get away with having like 2 or 3, and sometimes you'd need 5. But yeah, it varies. Chris will tell you. How many fans do you normally put in your PCs, Chris? With the 40 series or 4000 series NVIDIA GPU release, they said it's the biggest generational leap. We should quote them on that. We should. I don't think anyone's had the time to go back and check every single graphics card launch, 6 to like generation to generation. Would be kind of cool to see. But yeah, I think so. With the 3080 that I've got, I think the video that I'm going to do with it is I've got a 6700K and I've got a 4790K, and I even have a 7700K, but they're basically the same chips. I'm doing the 6700K. So I'm going to go through those older chips and see if it's worth, if it would make sense to upgrade. So I'll benchmark it with a Ryzen 9 3900X. Use that as a sort of benchmark figure and then sort of go down from there. So that should be an interesting one to see for the people who do have older CPUs but are considering getting 3080s or whatever. I talked about it earlier, but I have to give that card back because of how few there are and how many tech media there are. The card has to go back in like 4 days, 5 days, and 2 of those days the weekend, so I guess I'm working the weekend again. Is an RX 580 worth buying? Especially if you're buying used, that's probably not a bad shout. But if not, there might be better options. Well, I can't think of one off the top of my head, but yeah. What are the silver trying things? Well, insulation. I try to make them look cool, because it gets cold as hell in here. More fans is more better, always. Didn't the Trash Can Mac have just 1 fan, and the Cheese Grater has 2? Yes, but that is very, very, very well designed. Well, yeah, Dan would disagree with me. It's been specifically designed for that configuration, whereas most PC cases are very general, and so normally shoving as much air through them as possible is normally the better option. I don't. Where is it? Who was asking about the 4600H laptops? I don't think I've tested one, so I can't tell you, I'm afraid. I've had a liquid cooler untouched for 5 years. Do I need to do anything with it? So the problem with
For working over the weekend, have another coffee on me. Can't have you working all the hours without caffeine.
Thank you very much. Yeah, fair. I'll get on that. Yeah, as you can tell, I'm not used to that. But again, thank you very much. That was it, the AR cooler. Distracting me. So the The thing with AIO coolers, especially older ones, is that the liquid evaporates, the plastic breaks and cracks, and the pumps fail, especially if you have been using them. If you say untouched, that's probably okay, but if you wiggle it around and it sounds like the fluid is like sloshing, like there's a load of air in there, I wouldn't use it, because if there's not enough fluid in it, there will be nothing to pump around. But you can always give it a go, and if it, it explodes, then it explodes. The biggest thing I'd probably be worried about after not having enough fluid is the plastic cracking and leaking. That'd be the next one. You should be at 1 million subs. Well, thank you very much. And why don't you have memberships yet? So I have Patreon. If you fancy it, you do get rewards, I suppose. Like ad-free videos. So when I do sponsored videos, I remove the ads and post that to Patreon, so you can see that. But the YouTube membership specifically, the whole like join button thing, that's reserved for 100,000 subscribers or more, and I don't have that. So yeah. Do I recommend the MSI 241C? I haven't tested it. That sounds like 14.4. That sounds like 1080p, 144 Hz, 24 inches though, and probably a VA panel. So it's probably not terrible, but yeah. Tech World knows you well. Got recommended. Awesome. I've refilled an AIO before, took off the base plate and top tab. That's not a bad idea, but my assumption is that if you're asking about that on, a tech support live stream, you probably aren't comfortable enough with doing that, and also you probably don't have the, propylene glycol? Is that the one? Not ethylene glycol, because that's the toxic one. That's to actually top it up, because you just want to use water. But do you have Twitch subscriptions now? I do actually. I do have Twitch subscriptions. I streamed like a few games enough, and obviously I streamed this for an hour every week, so I just about qualified for a Twitch partner or a Twitch affiliate or whatever. So I do now have Twitch subs, and I assume like bits and stuff, but yeah. And also, Sea Swords, joined on Patreon. Thank you very much. I am eternally grateful for everyone who fancies chipping in. So yeah, thank you. The sponsor videos, the ad-free videos, they what you call it? I would normally upload, like, if I could upload the same video but give patrons literally ad-free, like no YouTube ads as well, I would. And when I upload the ad-free videos, like the sponsor-free videos, I should say, those videos I disable monetization on. But the problem is that you can't, like, me as a creator, I cannot upload the same video twice, right? So if I upload the Razer video that went out today, if I were to upload that exact same video again for Patreon, YouTube would block the upload immediately. Doesn't matter that someone else could upload my video and make money off of it, and I then have to go and manually claim that. That doesn't matter. What matters is that I can't do it for myself. And so what that means is that I can't upload like YouTube ad-free videos for patrons, like for every video. I tried to sign up to Float Play and they wouldn't let me, so yeah. As far as I'm aware, I'm not on the naughty list with MSI. I haven't. I'm yet to accept any parts from them because I'm not sure that I am confident in, I suppose, them as a company, but I suppose it, being a reviewer, I suppose it's kind of my responsibility to review their stuff and call them out on the crap again. So I suppose I should get over it and yeah. What matters is that someone steals your YouTube video. YouTube still makes money if they don't. You do, if you do it twice. True. Yeah. Yeah. There's a few companies that I genuinely won't ever work with again. But yeah. Do you know, James, that would be perfectly acceptable, apparently. Do you know if have any experience of fake SSDs floating around the market? Seen Sabrent Rocket TLC 2TB for £75. £75 saving. Oh, that's terrible. Yes, a £75 saving makes me think that that's definitely not a real drive. I have actually worked with Sabrent directly, and they are already fairly cheap drives on Amazon or whatever. So yeah, that doesn't sound legit. Do you know where? So you said eBay. Is it specifically? Are they labeled as such, part numbers and all, or does it look fairly sketchy, or is it just the price? Yeah, ish. That's yeah. DJ Army. So I'll give you the synopsis. I reviewed an MSI laptop. They did not like my conclusions, and offered me compensation to take the video down, and then threatened me with not having any more samples or sponsorships or anything in the future. So, and then they handled it really badly after that too. So I am currently not overly confident in MSI as a company, especially their laptop division, that they are willing to produce good quality products over taking checkboxes that say, yes, we have this in a product, and so, you know, we'll sell it anyway. But yeah. Is the new AMD Radeon driver version good or not? I cannot say. I don't test drivers, you know, I don't test graphics drivers every time. So yeah, I'm not sure, I'm afraid. Also, hello Essentialist. But absolute dishonesty from them. Absolute honesty here. Got me as a viewer, and I respect you from that debacle. Well, thank you very much. Yeah, that was definitely an interesting one. And I definitely have Steve from Gamers Nexus and Hardware Unboxed, and Linus to thank for that. And you know, I gotta thank Steve for the free stuff. Speaking of Steve, that toolkit really nice. Also, the poster, the like metro style poster is amazing. Love it. Yes, that was me. That was my fault. I have the Metro poster. Yeah, it's really cool. You know what? While we're here, while we're showing off, TechteamGB, sponsored by the Gamers Nexus One Man. I've got one of those too. It's really big. I've also got the mini one. That's easier to get out. Anti-static stuff. It's stuck up there. This is the mini mod map. It is really nice. yeah, someone said about Linux Mint. Anybody has a quick solution for NVIDIA on Linux Mint? Are the drivers not right? Like, are the drivers not working for you or something? I do also have the mouse mat, but the poster's cooler, so we'll show that.
I am James Smith on YouTube.
Awesome. Thank you very much. This is their poster, by the way. Very cool. What games do you play in stream? I play a little bit of COD Modern Warfare, and I've been playing Among Us a lot, and a bit of Fall Guys. Videos kind of suck. Yeah. Andy, look at the shill you've turned into. I know, I'm wearing their merch too. I suppose that's technically merch as well, but hey. Thank you, Mark Mabush and or James Smith. That is very kind, and I'm glad to put, name to a name. So you support Amazon? Well, I guess not. Like, I use Amazon affiliate links, so I suppose so. NVIDIA driver in Linux is better than the alternate drivers. Fair. What's the PC in the background? That is a test system. So it's currently a Ryzen 9 3900X and 2080 Ti testing. And then there's a Fantech Center Evolve standard tempered glass and non-tempered glass, and the what do you call it? Lian Lee, come on, brain. Galahad, that's the one. So yeah, that. Nice one, Ash. Do I see any more objections to that? Well, sure. But you can't fight every battle. Like, I am a sole trader, and I make a living from talking about tech stuff, and Amazon affiliates are one of the only ways that you can make it a viable job. If I had all the money in the world, would I fix it? Yeah, I would. But I don't, and you can't, like, as conscious and as well-intentioned, well-meaning as you can be, you can't fight every battle, and you have to compromise somewhere. And yeah, making a living is where I draw the line. And to answer DJ Army, yes, YouTube is my primary income source in the sense of it's my job, and I'd rather not disclose exactly how much money I make, but it's enough to, put food on the table and cover the roof of my head, but I'm certainly not a millionaire. What's your view on the Oculus Quest 2? So I haven't seen it. Personally, I don't have one, in hand. But the disconcerting thing, talking about picking battles, is that Facebook is quite heavily integrating itself with Oculus. And honestly, I've kept an eye on the Oculus subreddit, and the number of people who have posted screenshots saying that they are, that they have had their Facebook account that they only created so that they could log into their existing Oculus devices, removed, cancelled, suspended, is kind of unbelievable. And so that would be the worrying thing with me, is if you don't already use Facebook, or if there is, I don't know, some sort of bug or whatever that's causing them to suspend accounts tied with Oculus devices. and then just that integration in and of itself, I personally steer clear of. I know that it's like hardware wise, that's a fantastic value for money proposition, and to get into VR seems great. But yeah, it's yeah. I wish. Any GPU on the market for the Ryzen 3700X? I mean, technically speaking, yeah, you can use any. A good pairing for that would probably be a RX 5700 XT, 2070 Super, stretching to a 3080 if you can find one and afford one. But yeah. HP seemed to be the best option if not going for a Vive headset, looking for them for sons at Christmas present. Nice one. There's the new HP headset that's coming out in the not too distant future that apparently has every single sensor known to man in it, which was interesting. And that is going to be the first one that's going to have Microsoft Flight Simulator VR support. Are you still using your Elegoo Mars? I am a little bit. I've almost run out of not filament, resin. That's the one. And so I am. I need to buy some more, but the one that I've been using, I think, is out of stock. So I've been waiting for that one to come back in stock so that I can, basically use the same one rather than having to waste the dregs of the last bottle kind of thing. But yes, I am still using it a little bit for friends and stuff, friends and family who are who wanted earrings or little models and stuff, or sometimes little functional prints. But yeah, I think I'll probably do some functional prints for build a shed, so things like door handles and stuff could be fun. No worries, D. Jeremy. Good night. If you need a fake Facebook account, make some apps, then you probably won't get banned. I needed a fake account to migrate apps to delete Facebook. They don't let you delete it if you're an admin on apps. Fair. That's definitely one way to get around it. So I think for me that it's a funny joke, I'm listening to some shit audio. But it's you get used to funny names. But yeah, honestly, it was probably more the research for the video and writing the script for it and all was the most fun, because when you look at their website, I looked at the the instruction manual for the which one was it? I can't remember which one it was. I'll look it up. Took a picture of it and it was mildly hilarious. Even the instruction manual is tongue-in-cheek, very much taking the piss. Where is it? No, that's there we go. So they were saying about connecting the balanced inputs. Connect a balanced source here with good quality XLR cables. Alternatively, you can use bad XLR cables, but that's entirely up to you. Remember that we'll have you check your cables first thing if you have any trouble. That's in the manual. That's you open it up and read how to use the thing, and they're mocking you in the manual. It's good. 170 hertz versus 360, does it make a noticeable difference? Personally, I would say like no. The more frames is always more better, but unless you're an esports pro and competitiveness is a very key thing for you, 170 is fine. Yeah, most people do. No worries, sea swords. I'll catch you later. And yeah, see you on Discord. In fact, see you all on Discord because we have like 2 minutes left. So any last minute tech questions, get them in literally now. Like right now. Like just then. Like 10 seconds ago. Yeah. This week should be very interesting. I have a Corsair K100 review coming out tomorrow, and then next Thursday, I suspect probably before the stream the AMD announcement will be, so that will either be streamed or talked about on next week's stream, depending on how it all works out. Yeah. All right. Well, I think that will do it for this week. Thank you guys very much for tuning in. Thank you everyone who has been donating, who's been chatting. You are all magnificent, and I hope that you will have a good week and stay safe, because apparently you legitimately need to. And we will catch you at some point next week. Probably still Thursday, because you know Thursday is stream day, but potentially earlier or later depending on when the AMD stream is and what's going on. So yeah, we'll see. Anyway, I'll catch you guys next week, and you know, videos as usual.